The Uncle Gold Podcast. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Uncle Gold Podcast. My name is Borna Zuber, and I started this podcast with the intent to help people and bring some valuable ideas that can help you improve your life. And I know that if you're listening, you probably didn't have a rich uncle that taught you how to get the gold in life. And that's what this podcast is trying to be, provide you with useful information on how you can get your life to the next level. And I'm going to bring interesting people onto the show, and we're going to discuss really cool topics. Today I have Nathaniel Idahosa with me. We started chatting over LinkedIn a little bit, and he kind of mentored me over podcasting and YouTubing a little bit as we get to know each other. Nathaniel, welcome to the Uncle Gold podcast.
Hey, how you doing, man? Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you for having me as your guest, and I'm really excited to be a part of this. And I'm looking forward to share my experience and just to be helpful and productive, and
Awesome stuff.
help people to become better in tech or whatever they want to do.
Yeah, awesome stuff. It's a pleasure to have you, man. We did a short chat before we did the whole podcast, and even the time before when we started talking about the whole tech and everything, I kind of felt we kind of clicked on a lot of ideas there. Can you just, as an intro for everyone listening to the show, give us an intro who you are and what you do and what are kind of your main focuses right now?
Sure, Bona. Sure. Yeah. So my name is Nathaniel. I'm an iOS developer from Berlin. I live in Berlin with my family, and I am from Africa, Nigeria. So I've been living in Germany for over 20 years now. And after high school, I started apprenticeship trainee, and after that, I just dived right into the job market, started working and as a IT support engineer. And after that, I then switched to software development. But I think during the talk, we can go a little more into details. And I then later on launched my own YouTube channel, doing podcasting, giving advice, encouraging people, just giving people some ideas how it looks, how software development looks like, especially from a junior perspective. If you're starting from scratch, what to expect, and just sharing my experience, helping people to have a, let's say, a more clearer insight, clearer view of what it is to work in tech in general, not just software development. That's what I do. And that's me.
Awesome. I feel a connection there to Berlin, especially because in our company we do recruitment specialized in IT, and I chat to companies from Berlin all the time. And usually the conversation is around tech. There are a lot of people who are right now moving to Berlin because of jobs. There are a lot of companies in Berlin that are growing really, really fast, or they're starting a new project, or just a lot of tech stuff going on, and I think it's a really strong industry in Berlin. Berlin is kind of a tech hub in Europe, one of the strongest right now. There's a lot of things going on. Tell us a little bit about the guests that you bring on to your podcast. What are kind of like their focuses, and what do you chat about on your podcast?
Yeah, so in my podcast, it's called Code Stories. I have a German podcast called Code Stories DE. The DE stands for Deutschland, Germany. So if you speak German, you understand German, you can check that out. If not, you can check the English channel or the English podcast. Code Stories. So it's on YouTube, and I just successfully uploaded the videos or the audio version on Spotify and
Mhm.
Anchor yesterday or the day previously, I guess. And my guests are people from all over the, let's say, the tech industry. So I'm not just focused on software developers, but we have Scrum Masters, we have product owners, product manager, UI UX designers, CTO, entrepreneurs, people who have been in tech for a long time, people who just started um, working in tech. And so it's just a mixture of everything. And so one of the thing I want to let's say this flavor I want to have in my podcast on or in my YouTube videos was just to for people who are interested in tech should have let's say a wide view of what you can do in tech, because when you talk about tech most people think about oh writing code, people think about oh servers managing all these things that can be very complicated, and then they shrink back, they're scared, they don't want to look into it, they don't know that oh there are other parts in tech that are less let's say technical, and things that you can do without having to know how to program, without having to know how to manage a server, and without having to know how to create an API and all this that kind of stuff. And so people look into that and they're like, oh, so Scrum Master, what is that? Are you Kung Fu Master? Is that what does that has to do with what does that has to do with tech? Product owner, product manager, what is that? UX research, and people don't know about these things. And so I'm just doing this, hopefully that someone can maybe who's interested in being a part of tech, but they don't want to do software development or don't want to do DevOps, but they have let's say natural skills as a UI researcher, or they like organizing stuff, managing stuff, talking to people, interacting with people, and so oh, maybe you should try the Scrum Master thing. Maybe that's something for you, or something like that. And yeah, so that's the thing. So that's why I have people from all disciplines, from all over the globe, coming to the channel, coming to my podcast, and we just have a talk. And yeah.
That's awesome. I know that a lot of people are interested in that topic. I certainly know that a lot of HR people that I talk to, about how to work with profiles like that, are
Mm.
sometimes confused about the topic. So I'm more than happy to direct them to your podcast because I'm sure they can learn a lot. Usually it
Yeah,
happens that,
yeah, I can also add something that, for example, the when I'm doing my podcast, when I'm doing my video, I have some videos where it's just me alone talking about certain topics, talking about maybe how to become better in
Mhm.
this area as a software developer or as a tech person, and someone might be watching my video. Maybe that person lives in, let's say, South Korea, for example, and looking at me and say, "Okay, Nathaniel, you a self-taught software developer." And that works in Germany, right? Here in South Korea, it doesn't work, because here in South Korea, everything is just paper, 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 and you have to go to college to be able to do this. You have to be doing this since from childhood, and so good for you, Nathaniel. But I cannot relate to your story. And so my first guest was a lady from South Korea, self-taught, taught herself how to code, and now she's working. I work with her together. She's a front-end developer. We work together, and so that's the kind of, let's say, the kind of element I want to bring into my show, so people can see and say, okay, maybe I cannot relate to Nathaniel, but I can relate to that lady that was in his show. And so if she can do it, maybe I should give it a try. If that person from India that was in his show can do it, if that person from Ukraine, if that person from from Africa, I have people from Africa, people from all over the world sharing their stories, how they got into tech, how they started learning, and maybe you can relate to those people. So that's one of the thing also.
Yeah, definitely. I know that I learned a lot through the internet. Like I'm sure that I got another degree on YouTube just from watching a lot of videos on people that talk about stuff that's useful. Like for a lot of problems that I don't have a solution for, I just go straight to YouTube, type it in, and I usually find it. It's not, it's
Yep.
getting more and more rare where you don't find the solution on YouTube. So I think it's a great learning tool, and there are of course other websites out there, but just sharing the story of like how you got started is very interesting for me. I feel that more people should be open to it, and especially in 2020 with this whole COVID situation where everybody was kind of like stuck at home. They didn't know what to do. A lot of people lost their jobs all over the place, all over the world. So kind of starting your own thing or learning something new was a very, very good decision in
Mhm.
2020. So thank you for sharing information like that. I'm sure it brings a lot of value to people. What are kind of some of the common themes that you see with the guests that you have on? Like, how do their stories start? What made them kind of go into development or more of these tech side of things? And what kind of made what made you to go into that direction as well?
Yeah, so I guess they have all different kind of stories, backgrounds, and what I can see that let's say a pattern that is very similar is, for example, people who say, I like playing with gadgets when I was young. I like playing with I don't know, electronic stuff, and like breaking them and looking at how it works, and tearing them apart and looking into them. And so this like more of the common way how it began. And also the people who just like, they were just hanging around doing your thing. For example, I had a guy who was working for 10 years in in a gas station in America, frying chicken in a gas station for 10 years. And he had absolutely no clue about software development. And he heard about I think a rapper or something investing money into some of kind of a startup. And this rapper was interviewed and asking, why are you doing this? And he said, yeah, I got into software development and it's really fun and I really like it. And he was like, my goodness. So a rapper can start software development. Maybe I should give it a try. And then he dived into it, and now he has a huge community, over 40K followers on Twitter. He's been putting a lot of effort into helping other people in tech. And so this is like how many people began, just seeing other people, seeing, oh, it's possible. And that's actually how, like, from my side, it started in 2017. I had like a setback in my previous career as an IT supporter. And so I was just wandering around thinking about, oh, okay, what should I do now? um, I'm not that interested in IT support anymore. What else can I do in tech? And so I was clueless, absolute zero background about software development. I've heard about software development. I've heard about Java, and even in school, back in school, I did a little bit of Java, but I was never like into it. It was never something that was attracted to. Uh, but it was actually when I saw people on YouTube talking about how they got into tech, how they got into software development. And even before that, a friend of mine sent me a link where you can go to a kind of school. And I didn't heard about boot camp that time. I didn't know it was called boot camp, coding boot camp. And they say you can go here and learn. They're going to teach you for 6 months how to code, and after that, you can go and apply for jobs. And if you don't get a job, you're going to get your money back. And I'm like, wow. So this software development thing is not a myth, because that's how I grew up, knowing about software developers, and the people like, this is magic, this is a myth. It's only the most intelligent people on on the planet that can be software developers. You have to be a math genius. You have to be doing this till since you can walk. You
Yeah.
have to be you have to be extremely clever for you to be able to survive in this thing. And so I was none of that. I'm honest. I was none of that. And so I didn't never saw myself doing software development. But when I saw these people sharing your story, I was like curious. I was like, man, maybe I should give it a try. And then I tried it, and it was so amazing, so exciting. And from there on, 2017, I started learning how to code. Before work, I would wake up like 2 hours earlier, and then write some codes. When I come back from work, spend time with my family. When they go to bed, code again for another 2 3 hours. I did that for like 3 4 months. I wouldn't recommend anybody to do that, by the way. But I did that, and because it was so fun, so much fun. And so but I wasn't quite, let's say, I wasn't quite 100% sure if it's going to be something that if I'm going to reach this goal, because I saw these people talking about their stories, and most of them are people from America, from the United States, right? And for me, it was like, is this just another some kind of I don't know, you know, America, this is the land of opportunities, and so these people are just living the American dream. But here in Germany, like the example that I just made with the South Korea lady, I was thinking like here in Germany, that's not going to be possible. Here in Germany, a lot of paperwork and a lot of things. So software development, I have no chance. But that didn't hold me back. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I kept learning, keep doing it. And yeah, so that's how I got into tech, just seeing other people. And it was it was fun for me, and I really enjoyed it. I worked as a support engineer for 6 years. I never came home with my work. I was excited to show my wife or people I know what I did at work. And when I started software development, my goodness, I, I was just a static website that just shows "Hello World" was like, wow, crazy. I would just go to people, look at what I did. Look, you can scroll up, scroll down, and and, and it was so exciting for me. And so that was like those moments that were like, man, this is something I really want to do in the future. And so that's how I got into it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. My girlfriend started doing on, let's say, a side hustle business. She's starting to do like a virtual assistant thing, and she decided to learn a little bit of code. So if anybody needs help with something, she can do the basics, like create the website. And then in one of the courses, it was like, yeah, create like a really basic, website, just like put a few pictures, some text, and that's it. And afterwards she's like, oh, look what I did, like it's a website, and it was literally
Yeah.
that, like four pictures, 5 lines of text, and she's like
Yeah.
ecstatic about it. So yeah, I know what you mean there. And how did it develop then for you? Like, what are the benefits that you see now after some time that you're working in software development?
Well, I think one of the benefits is like I think something that everybody knows about is you're very flexible as a software developer. You can work from almost everywhere, depending on the company you're working for, or if you're doing freelance. If you're doing freelance, and you can do whatever you want to do, but you're very flexible. You are not committed to have a dedicated workspace. So if you want to work from the kitchen, if you want to work from, I don't know, from your bed, you can do it wherever you want, learn or do your work from wherever you want, as long as you have your computer with you. So that's absolutely one thing that I really appreciate, and I'm really thankful for in software, that you have this opportunity in software development. And the other thing is that it's a never ending story when it comes to learning, right? So you're always going to be learning. There's never going to be a time where you're going to reach a stage where you're like, okay, I've got it all. I don't need to learn this anymore. I don't need to learn about frameworks, learn about languages, syntax, and all these things, concepts. I've got it all. It's like you always going to be learning. And it's, on one side, it's exciting, it's really cool, but on the other side, it's also terrifying, right? Because knowing that, oh man, it's like if you're in a race, or if you're in a race, or you participate in some kind of competition, you want to know, okay, when is this going to end? If you're doing a marathon, you know, okay, maybe 2 hours, in 2 hours I'm going to be done, or whatever. But in software development, it's like, no, it doesn't end. It's going to be you're always going to be learning. You're always going to be have to apply new skills, new learn about new tools and new things that are coming up. And so, and that's why that those are things that makes software development very exciting, and it's not boring, because you just have so much opportunities. You can do some side hustle. You don't have to like writing code all the time, or solving problems all the time, because that's actually the main goal, or the main task in software development is solving problem. It's not writing code itself, because people think, oh, it's just code. Software developers are people who just every day, all day, just typing code, and like no, it's more it's more like solving problems, like looking into how you can uh, fix something. So like I said, very flexible, it's very agile. You can work remotely from almost everywhere. You have freelance. You can write books if you want to. You can write blogs. You can create your own courses. You can do mentoring. You can talk on conferences. You can workshops. So you have a lot of options, right? So it never get boring. You're never going to be in a place where you're like, I've done it all in software development. So there's always something you can do and always something that's exciting. So that's definitely something that has helped me a lot, and just being exposed to all these opportunities, knowing that, okay, I must not, I can do something, a side hustle like my YouTube thing, like I'm doing, right? My podcast. This is something that is also helped me to just know about other departments, right? Know about IT security. I never knew, I never heard about white hat hacker, black hat hacker, and gray hat hacker. Like, so I had this IT security guy, amazing guy, on my podcast, and he taught me about these things. And I was like, oh my goodness, so these things exist. What is that? White hat hacker, black hat hacker, gray hat hacker, and then he just break those terms down and told me what they're about. And so these are things that are just very good when you are in software development, or in tech in general, not just software development. In tech, you can, there's so many things, like the disciplines I just mentioned, right? Scrum Master. If you like, okay, I've done software development for 5 years, I want to try product owner, product manager. I want to try Scrum Master or UI UX design. You can just switch and give it a try and come back later if you don't like it. So it's very versatile, and that's why it's something I really like about software development. Yeah.
Mhm. I'm sure there are people here listening to the podcast trying to improve their career and learn something valuable. Do you have some tips, like how can someone maybe make their career transitions faster, or some like good points that worked for you, maybe?
Um, I think when you're transitioning, it is something, even because of the COVID thing, has more or less forced a lot of people to transition, or to think about switching their career. And because they knew, like, oh, I thought before COVID, people thought like their job was 100% secure. They're never going to lose their job. They can always work in this department, in this position. And then COVID came, and everything was like turned upside down, and people realized, okay, maybe I should start looking into this, looking into that. So there are a lot of resources out there. So we live in a day and age where we have access to everything, right? Like, before, you have to go to huge libraries to get information, read big books, go to college, and stay there for at least 4 years and learn about everything. But now you have everything here, right? On this device. On this device, you have everything. And now it depends on you to take that step, and to be very extremely disciplined, and take the time to look into this information, to look into this data, and say, okay, you know what? Every day, half an hour, I'm going to read about this thing, and I'm going to try this thing, and I'm going to play around with this thing. And just start very small, right? Start with 10 minutes. You don't have to go, okay, I have to do this 3 hours every day. Start with 10 minutes. If you want to do DevOps stuff, if you want to do hacker stuff, if you want to do, I don't know, product owner, just do it for 10 minutes every day. Just look into it for 10 minutes. Just make sure that you can do it for 10 minutes. And afterwards, if you can do more than 10 minutes, that's good. But just make sure the first maybe 2 3 weeks, just do it 10 minutes. And then after that, you do it for half an hour. And then let's just see it progress and see, try all different kind of stuff. And 10 minutes sounds very small. People like, 10 minutes, I can do that, no problem. 10 minutes, trust me. If you're doing it, if you really like it, you're gonna be doing more. But if you don't like it, that 10 minutes is gonna be like forever for you. So, and just try little baby steps. And like I already mentioned, YouTube has everything. On YouTube, you can find so many things. And if you're looking for something on YouTube and you can't find it, that means maybe it's time for you to provide those
Yourself,
to
yeah. Yeah.
provide those things, and yeah, maybe you can be very successful in that. So looking for looking for ideas, like, okay, maybe on YouTube is talking about, I don't know, how to bake this thing. Maybe I should be doing it because I'm interested in it, or I can do it. So from that, you can not just only learn, but you can also discover, okay, what informations are out there. Maybe I could also provide some information myself. I can just um, be productive myself and bring something into the market for people to help other people. And you're going to be surprised how people earn their living today on YouTube or whatever. People just showing videos how they bake cake, and they're earning hundreds of thousands of euros or dollars just by baking cake on YouTube or by styling their hair. With me, I can do that. My hair, so I know no more hair here. And so there's so many things that you can do, and it's just you have to take your time and look into it. And unfortunately, many people are just not prepared for that, and maybe we can talk about that later on. Yeah, so the thing is that you have a lot of people who dive into a certain, let's say, field in tech or whatever, and they're very excited at the beginning. They want to do this. Let's code. Let's program. Let's do this, and they're very excited, and they do it for maybe a few days, a few weeks, and yeah, they lost interest. And so I understand it. I can understand when people are like, I tried it. It's not something for me. But the thing is that most people take this mindset and apply to every other things, right? They just like jumping around, switching fields and trying this. Oh, it doesn't work for me because I'm not good at it. Trying this doesn't work for me, and they'll never be in a place where they can say, okay, I tried this for at least a year, right? And after a year, I can say, okay, it's not for me. But you don't do something for like a week or 2 weeks. So unfortunately, so many people are not willing to uh, to do the job, right? To dive into it and to uh, like sacrifice some time and maybe wake up early in the morning or stay late at night to to read some books or to look into the subject. And yeah, and that's how you know, okay, this person is not ready or this person is not prepared yet. Maybe in the future they're going to give it another try and do it better, but for now it's like. And so that's the sad part about it, and especially when it comes to software development, it's very abstract, and people are lost in the beginning. So it's you get discouraged a lot in the beginning. So after you've done your first, let's say, a static website with the with the picture, with images and text, you're very excited. But when things get a little bit sophisticated, complex, you just freak out and you say, no, I don't want to do this anymore. This is not for me.
I'm sure that's the moment where you actually have to rely on someone else who has more experience than you.
Yeah, yeah.
And this podcast is kind of oriented towards the kind of improve yourself style of living. And there are a lot of elements you touched on, explaining how people behave. I see that not only in software development, but with a lot of things as well. I used to be like that a lot. Like I would start things like 50 things a day, just, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then I never finished them, so I kind of had to learn, teach myself to kind of dial it down a little bit and be like, all right, I'm not going to start 50 things. Let's start two, because starting one just wouldn't satisfy me. So let's just start with two and trying to get them as finished as possible, right? And then getting to the part where everything that I start, I finish. So it was kind of a process of developing your own self. And I know
Same
it's
thing here too. Same thing here. I tried a lot of different stuff at the same time, learning multiple programming language simultaneously, and I failed big time. It was a big mistake trying to learn so many things at the same time. Yeah, continue. Sorry for diving
no,
in.
no, no, it's fine. I feel that happens a lot to a lot of people. And while we're on that subject, do you kind of know what are some good tricks to get around that? Because I feel that's a huge problem for people. But sorry, before you start, I
Mm,
feel that it's actually good to try out a lot of things. I believe that a lot of people are
absolutely.
not in the
Mm,
yes mentality, and they're not doing anything, right? They're just like in a hamster wheel stuck. I also want to kind of push people to try different things,
mm.
but also to kind of learn when to drop them and kind of learn when to finish them when it's necessary, you know?
Mm. Yeah, for me too. I fully agree. It's good to try a lot of things. It's good to try different things, but there's a time where you need to start focusing on smaller things, right? Break them down into little chunks and just focus on them, on those little parts, and not trying to like, okay, what have you been doing for the past 3 months? Yeah, I've been learning this. Like, whoa, okay. So you're never going to be really good at something. You're just like, yeah, I know about this a little bit, know about that a little bit. But like I said, it's good to be curious about new technologies, new things, new skills, new knowledge. But somewhere down the line, you have to focus. All right. I find it really, I don't know, strange, sometimes maybe even disturbing when I see adults. I mean, with adults, I mean adult people that are in your 40s, right? And you ask them, hey, you see them somewhere, maybe in the marketplace or somewhere outside. Hey, long time no see. How you doing? And what you doing now? He said, I don't know. I'm trying this. I'm like, dude, man, like the last time we met was 5 years ago, and you were trying this, and now 5 years later you're still trying this. Like, come on, you should by now at least know, okay, this is something. These are the two things, or the maximum, the three things I want to look into, I want to try. And so it's I think one of the way you can improve that is being held accountable. For example, if you have someone, um, friends or people, mentor people who can like look into your work, look into your life, and say, hey, you've been distracted again, you've been distracted by this again, you've been distracted by that again. You should focus on this. You should make sure that you just put your mind on these two things, or on these three things, and not try to learn or dive into a field that that you don't know about right now. You can do it in the future, but first let's finish this project. Let's finish this two project. And if you have been held accountable, being held accountable by people, by friends, family, partner, people around you, and that's a good thing. And the way you can do that is actually you have to communicate. You have to communicate that with someone, right? Nobody's going to come and say, okay, from now on, I'm going to make sure that you only focus on these two projects. So you have to go to someone and say, hey, look, I have an issue doing so many things at the same time, but I would like to focus on these two things. And if you ever see me, if you catch me doing this, please let me know. Please warn me about it, and so that I can focus on the things that are important. And so you have to communicate, and that's a huge step. So that's where most people even stop, or they fail. They're just coming, just being open and say, hey, look, I have this problem. I have this problem with hanging around on YouTube all day. I have this problem with hanging around on Instagram all day and being distracted by this all day. Can you please help me? And just let's say someone that could give you feedback, maybe after a day, or maybe after a week. You can meet that person, say, let's break down the things you did this week. Let's break down what you achieved this week. And the person, oh wow, good, according to this you doing a good job, and according to this you're focused. And if that's not the case, and the person can then tell you, okay, we should maybe get rid of this, get rid of that, for you to be able to focus. Yeah, that's one thing. And yeah, it's just also putting some, let's say, tagging the time limit, right? Like I said, 10 minutes. Do it for 10 minutes. Don't start doing something, okay, I want to learn cooking, or I want to learn this, I want to learn software development, and I have to do it 3 hours like the way Nathaniel did it. Wake up early in the morning, do it for 2 hours, and afterwards. You don't have to do it that way. Try it for 10 minutes first. Just do it little chunks, and then from there on, just start to graduate, and then gradually go forward and see how it goes. So don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just try very, very small. It's better to learn for every day for 10 minutes than doing it once a week for 3 hours, right? 10 minutes each day is much better than like doing it 3 hours a week. And so it's just that's two things like look for someone, look for a mentor, friend, someone who can actually, yeah,
Mm, yeah.
monitor or manage what you're doing and just look into what you're doing, and that can hold you accountable. And the other things like time management. So
True, true. Those are some really valuable tips there. I feel that a lot of people don't take any responsibility for what they're doing. They're just kind of,
yeah.
as I mentioned before, either hamster wheel going through their life, or they
Mm,
just kind of don't care. I would love to see people try more things and kind of stick to them.
mm,
Being like, all right, I decided, I made a decision. I'm going to change something in my life. I'm going to start
yeah.
something new, and not just doing it on like a whim, like a whimsical, like, oh yeah, let's try
Mm,
dancing. I don't know, right? But more kind of like taking a study approach to it, being like, all right, what would be very useful and what would be kind of something that I could enjoy. I'm sure that a lot of people won't find it right away, but then it's about trying.
mm.
And yeah, tell me, mentoring is a very big topic in this whole self-development um, field and in life in general. Like I chatted to a friend of mine recently, like finding someone who can give you a tip where they've been through something, it saves you so much time. It just not only shows you like the faster way to get there, but kind of like a different perspective on it as well. What role have kind of mentors played in your life, and do you maybe have some like online people who are you're looking up to, or even learning from?
Yeah, I have two people just jump coming to my mind. First of all, my mentor at work, he's from Turkey, and he has been such a blessing in my life, and he showed me a lot of stuff. And just having someone, like you said, someone who can tell you, okay, you are doing too much or you're doing not enough. You should be looking into this and not that. You shouldn't be spending too much time uh, fixing this problem because it's not as important as the other things. It's just showing you how to be more productive, right? And if you don't have that person, it can be really, really difficult, and you're going to be doing a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. You're going to be reading books that doesn't make sense. You're going to be looking into subject that has absolutely no impact in your everyday life as a software developer, for example. And yeah, my mentor at work, and I have another guy who I know for a long time now, and his name is Dominic, and he also is a software developer, iOS developer, and he has been helping me right from scratch. I remember when I told him that, look, I'm into iOS development because he's an iOS developer, and he wrote books. He have read some books about iOS development, and so I reached out to him. Look, I'm into this software development thing, and can you help me out? And right from scratch, right from the beginning, was like, yeah, let's do it together. And although he has his own family, kids, uh, and he was like, all right, let's do it. We met like once every week, did a video chat. He looked into my project, looked into the things that I'm doing, just being, I was checking into the things that are looking into the things that I'm doing. And by that, I was also motivated to try to keep doing it, because I know, okay, I'm going to be held accountable at least once every week. My mentor is going to look into my code and see, okay, what has Nathaniel been doing? And that is something that has helped me a lot. So yeah, my mentor at work, Adich, my mentor online, the other online mentor, Dominic. So those guys, and also other people in my life, people from church, people, my family. So those are people that are all support me and say, hey, look, Nathaniel, maybe you should focus on this and stop doing that. And people give me the right tips and give me the right idea. My team at work, for example, my team at work was amazing people. So right from scratch, everybody knew that I'm the crazy guy who want to become a software developer. So yeah, so
And then
I
you
start.
introduce yourself to people like,
Yes.
hi, I'm Nathaniel.
So yeah, so I started working for takeaways, Liferando Nights Night Jet, Jet, Jet takeaway. I don't know. The name is changing every few months. Yeah. So and so I started working there, and I started working as an IT support engineer, right? And I told everybody, so not everybody, but HR knew, okay, Nathaniel wants to join as a support engineer, but he already told us that he wants to become a software developer in the future, and everybody knew about it. And I never had any experience where people were like trying to make fun of me, trying to say, hey, you're not, you crazy, what is doing? So everybody knew that, okay, yeah, what he's trying to do is kind of crazy a little bit. And yeah, but they were always very supportive. Everybody supported me. Everybody was, man, Natanya, you can do this. Let's do it together. If you need help, let's help you. So my team was always behind me. And so these are the kind of people you need to, I mean, one side you have people who have, you should be honest, right? Not just people, hey, I want to beat beat Usain Bolt Usain Bolt record. Although I can barely walk. So yeah, yeah, you can do it. Just believe in yourself. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. So so it's like they are trying to. They saw that I'm very interested in this and that I'm taking the time. I was literally stalking my mentor at work. Before I joined his team. So I would like come around, hey, what are you doing? And there's this project that I'm working on. I'm stuck. I don't know. And I would ask him, I would challenge him, right? And he was noticing, man, this guy's asking some uncomfortable questions, and he's always trying to know what is going on behind the scene. It's not just, oh, that's how it work. Okay, bye bye. It's always asking, so why do you guys do it this way, not that way? Is there another way to achieve this goal? Or is it just the way? And he was like very open, telling me all different kind of things. And so yeah, so those are like the people I was surrounded with, um, that really helped me to go this far. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. I also have a really good manager right now in the company where I work with, and I feel like I learned a lot. Also, I feel that communication is very, very important in this whole thing. Like how someone approaches you and how they talk to you and the general attitude. I think that's super important. Some people prefer different mentoring styles. Like I remember a friend who trained in martial arts. He says that he's not the type that likes encouragement. He likes the disencouragement. So he chose a gym where the trainer didn't tell them, "Yeah, you can do it. You're strong." He chose a trainer that told him, "You're weak. You can't do it." And then that kind of pumped into, like more like a reverse psychology thing. But he knew that he prefers trainers like that, so it won't work for everybody, of course. I
Mm,
prefer the first version where the communication is more emphatic and kind of like on the motivational side,
mm,
and the shortcuts you just get, it's amazing. I love that. We do a lot of these like meetings where we chat on like how stuff can be improved, and I get a lot of info there.
mm.
I also believe it's important to do it on a personal level, and in the second part of the podcast, I kind of want to go into that part a little bit as well, and talk to you about your goals and what you're doing. But before we go into this short break, Nathaniel, can you tell the people listening where can they find you if they want to reach out, and how do they find your channel and your podcast?
Yeah, so like I already mentioned, code stories. Just type code stories on YouTube or code stories DE on YouTube. There you can find my channel, German and English channel. On LinkedIn, you can find me on LinkedIn also. So just reach out to me if you have any questions, if you have anything in mind that you'd like to share with me. Just reach out to me. So LinkedIn, YouTube, or Spotify. Yay! Finally. And yeah, so yeah, I'm very open to to um, to interact with you.
The Uncle Gold Podcast.
Welcome back to the Uncle Gold podcast. We're done with a short break here. We're here with Nathaniel Idahosa, and we're chatting about software development. And we touched on some really interesting topics at the start. I love the part where we talked about mentorship and communication. From there, I want to transition into the topic of social media, and we'll start with YouTube and podcasts, because that's something that where I'm really interested right now, and that's kind of where we started chatting on everything. Nathaniel, you started your own podcast and you started a YouTube channel. Well, you actually started multiple YouTube channels. I'm kind of going in the same direction now, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on how to start and what are kind of some general directions where people should be thinking about when they're starting either a podcast or a YouTube channel. And I give you the freedom to choose of which you want to start first or together, or approach it however you want.
Yeah, so I think the thing is that some when you're starting a podcast or like a blog or whatever, um, just like the coding part, right? People are excited. They want to. They have this idea in your head. They have this thing in their mind. They just want to this concept in their chest, and they just want to bring it out. And like, yes, it's time for me to share the world how this thing works. It's time for me to say to give my opinion about this thing. And they don't think about, okay, how is this going to be in a year from now? All right, they just think about the now, and they're not prepared that, okay, this is something that should be a part of, I want this, if this thing should be a part of my life for a long period of time, then I should be very well prepared, right? I should write things down, take notes. All right. I should ask questions. I should do some research, and not just like press record and just start talking. And then, like, okay, actually, after 5 minutes, I'm actually done with everything I wanted to say. That's it. Right? And that's the end of the story. And after 5 minutes, you don't have you're done with your great idea. But if you want to do podcasting, you have to be aware that yeah, you should be very well prepared. You should know about the things that you're going to be sharing with people. And if you're not, you should be open to say, hey, look, I don't know about this subject, but this is what I've learned about it. And can you guys give me some feedback? I want to learn. Just be honest. Like, just be honest and tell people, and be transparent, right? And let people know um, your challenges, what you're struggling with. And also in some of my video I would have like bloopers, like places where I would like do mistakes, and like we just show them like, hey, look, this is not, I'm not just here like just talking the entire time, and people are like, man, this guy is really cool, never make any mistakes. Like, dude, I make a lot of mistakes, and I just want to show that I'm just a human being. And so you have to be very well prepared about that too, knowing that you're going to do a lot of mistakes. You're going to be, burnout is a real thing in this when you're doing something like this, because one thing is, you're going to try to one thing that causes burnout is when you're trying to be like someone else, someone that you're not. So especially when you're trying to be as productive as someone that you know, or being as successful as someone on the internet. And for example, when I started the YouTube thing, I was like talking like slow and just be myself, right? But I would see other people who are very successful, and they're very very in a lot of energy, and just they're loud, and they just, hey, welcome, blah 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 blah, doing all this kind of tough stuff. And I'm like, maybe I should try that too. But at the same time, like, but that's not me.
Yeah,
That's not me. So
exactly.
I could do that, and it might work and getting subscribers, but it's gonna be it's not going to be something I would enjoy doing for a long time, because as soon as the camera is off, I'm like, oh my, thank God it's over. I don't have to pretend to be that person anymore, right? So, and then when you have to to do it again, and like, oh no, I now have to pretend to be this and this. I have to be this person who's very who talks really fast, or who talks really slow, or who try to pretend like the intelligent, although they're not that intelligent. I don't know, who pretend to be very smart, and just be yourself. Be yourself. If you're someone who stutters when you speak, just be that. Let people just know, oh, that I have a speaking problem, or have a problem with pronouncing certain words, or whatever. And just let people know, just be authentic, just be honest, and people are going to notice that this person is open, transparent, he's not faking something. And so that's something that's also, like I said, when you are doing diving into this field, you try to, like, observe what's going around you in the internet. Look at other YouTubers. Okay, what do they have? Which kind of equipment are they using? And just try to take the good things and try to mix it up a little bit, and put your flavor in there, and just make it your thing, right? And just try to be yourself. And when it comes to one huge mistake that I made when I started my YouTube thing was, there's a saying. Goes like, it goes like this: if you buy cheap, buy twice, right? So when I started the YouTube thing, I was not buying cheap, but I would buy things that actually I knew that, okay, they're not that good, but they were cheap, right? I would buy them and try them, and they work maybe the first day, and then after a couple of days, few days, and few weeks, they just fall apart. And I'm like, oh, now I have to get rid of this, and I have to sell it, and I have to try to return these things. And I did that a lot. I did that with a lot of devices, with cameras, microphones, and with the microphone arm, things that I'm using right now. And some might be thinking, okay, you lost money. Yes, I lost money, but what I regret the most is time, the time that I lost in that process. Because the thing is, money, you can always get money. You can always get your money back, right? You can work, you can sell those stuff, and you can get side hustle, you can get those money back. But time, it's over. Those countless hours that you spend trying to fix this thing and trying to sell them and return, those are time, and you're never gonna get the time back. It's gone. It's gone. So uh I'm not saying you should go out and just spread the cash and buy the most expensive devices, expensive cameras, but just try to just look at what works, right? If I start recording, I want to make sure that I'm on focus. If I start recording, I want to make sure that my microphone is working. If I start editing, I want to make sure that I have a device, a computer that can handle the editing part. I want a software that can use to create thumbnails. I want this to be able to manage this, and just look into these things, and try to make sure that you have the right tools that can make you as productive, and make you do the things fast, quick, and precise. And because, look, maybe you say, okay, I'm going to save a lot of money, but it's going to take me 3 hours for me to record, for me to do this. Every time you have to go there and spend 3 hours. But if you've paid maybe double, pay twice as much, but it just takes you half an hour, that's a lot of time. It's a lot of time. And time is so precious, man. It's so important. Because, look, since this corona thing, COVID thing, I've been working from home, right? And it takes me an hour to get to the office, and then an hour back, so that's 2 hours every day, and that's 5 times, that's 10 hours per week that I'm saving, right? So it's actually when I started working from home that I realized, wow, those 10 hours that I'm saving per week is amazing. I can do a lot of stuff. I can read, spend time with my family, spend time with God, reading my Bible, spend time with friends, and do all those kind of those things, right? And work on my podcast, write on work on editing, and those 10 hours are so good, was so important. I never really realized how what you can do in those 10 hours in a week. It's like it's amazing. So just make sure that you buy the things you need. If you know, okay, if I buy this device, if I buy this app, if I invest in this app, I know it's going to make me more productive. I know it's going to save me half an hour. I know it's going to make me um, faster in producing in writing a blog. It's going to faster in bringing out content. Then go for it. If you can afford it, go for it. Don't say, oh no, I know what, I'm going to use my camera, my phone. I don't want to buy a camera. And then you use your phone and it takes 3 hours for you to for you to finish a podcast or whatever you want to do. So just try to think about plug and so for me it's like think about have this plug and play mindset. I plug it, play, and everything just works. I don't think about, for example, I was using, sorry for Panasonic. I was using a Panasonic Panasonic fanboys out there, fan girls. I was using Panasonic camera before, and I was having issues with autofocus, and it was such a nightmare. And I was always thinking about Sony, buying Sony. People would say Sony is the best. Sony, when it comes to autofocus, I was always, Sony, no, I don't want to buy Sony. I don't want to buy Sony. And now I bought Sony, and it's amazing. It's so good. It saved me so much time. I just press it and it just focus on my face, like it just stick to my face, and it just works. And I don't have to think about hopefully everything works. Hopefully hopefully my I was on target. So yeah, so that's the thing.
I know when we started chatting, you told me, because I asked you, I was getting into the podcast space, and I was thinking of like everybody recommends getting some equipment, and I didn't want to spend too much. And I asked you like, what would you recommend? And you actually recommended this Rode mic that I got, and I really do love it. And it's the same story with that. It's just plug and play. It just works. It's really
It just
easy.
works. Yeah.
And the quality is really good. I feel that it's like really professional. I already get some people commenting on it, like it not just looks good, but it sounds good, and I think that's the main part with the podcast. Tell me, as you started the podcast there, on which directory did you upload your episodes? Because if someone's listening right now, and if you're thinking of starting your own podcast, the first thing that you do, you upload them to a podcast directory, and from there you upload them to all the websites. Where did you host your podcast?
So my podcast, when I started, was all YouTube, right? I started on YouTube. So when I didn't start it with podcasting, it was just me doing a solo thing, talking about how I got into tech, giving some advice, tips, inspiring people, and just talking about the things that I experienced as a software developer, and what you need, what to expect when you're doing software development. And so later on, I then decided to like um, start inviting people, bring people in, and I just do record my video from camera, and after that I just upload it right to YouTube. Right, so it was YouTube was hosting the thing. I didn't have to. It was not like a third party host service that I was using. It was just YouTube doing everything for me, and so that's there was nothing else that I was using. And it's like now that I'm using Spotify, and it's also the same thing. Spotify has this service called Anchor. It's more like a database where you can that acts like a host for your podcast. So there, you in this Anchor, you can upload your audio, and then you can then from there you can then publish them on Spotify, or I don't know what else do you have. You have Apple and you have Google stuff, and then you can just like um
Mhm.
what do you call how do you call it?
The
To
RSS
distribute.
feed.
You can distribute.
Distributed. Ah, yeah.
You can distribute then your podcast into in different services out there, different platforms like Spotify and Apple. So
Mhm.
so Anchor, it looks really pretty good, very easy. And I tried it like uh, a week ago. I started looking into it, and it just makes sense, very intuitive, and very easy, user friendly. And so I tried it, and it's working fine. And since then, I'm now uploading my podcast also on Spotify, just for people, for example, people who don't have the, let's say, the capacity to watch video on YouTube, 40 minutes video on YouTube, and that just takes too much volume from their data package per month. They're like, "Ah, I want something that's a little bit smaller, that doesn't take that much volume." And Spotify, the audio version, it's a good place then to watch my to listen to my podcast. Yeah, so Anchor, Spotify, YouTube. So that's the three things that I use. And I also sent you some other things for something that you can use to clean up your audio. There are also other stuff. What is the name? I sent you some link of Phonic or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Site.
of Phonic.
Mhm.
Yeah, Phonic. Also really, really good. It makes your audio, it clean up the audio, remove background noise and all the hums and all the is all those things that are disturbing in the background, takes it off, and it really sounds really good. So I use that also. So those are things that have been very helpful for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thanks for the tips, by the way. It helps a lot. And usually, when you're starting, you kind of don't know what you're doing. And as we chatted before about mentoring, it helps a lot when someone can kind of narrow it down to show you where to go and how to start
Mhm.
it. I also did a lot of YouTubing about it to kind of like find information about it. I find Pat Flynn has some really good videos there on how to start a podcast and
Yeah.
just like all the stuff connected
Yeah,
to it.
and the other thing is that when you start in this podcasting, maybe that was I could have added this a few minutes earlier, but I will add it now. So when you start a podcast, you should also realize that you're not going to be a success story from scratch, right? So depending on which field, in which things you're talking about. So if you're talking about tech, for example, this is very abstract, and you're not going to find a lot of people who are just going to come to your podcast and start watching you or subscribing. So if you're talking about beauty, these things are very famous. People love those kind of stuff. Women love those kind of stuff. And if you're talking about, let's say, politics or something like that, people are also very into that. They want to hear your opinion about all this kind of stuff. But if you're into tech, for example, it's going to take a while until people until you get noticed. And it's you have to be very patient, and you have to realize that it's not just, oh, I just did a video about a tutorial about HTML, and nobody's looking at my videos. Like, well, there are hundreds and hundreds of other people who have tutorials. And the other thing is that soft or tech is it's not something the everyday average person is interested in. So you shouldn't be surprised that it's going to take a long time before people start noticing you on YouTube or whatever you're doing. So you have to be bringing out something on a regular basis, right? Um, and don't, if you have like a topic that takes an hour, don't talk about everything in an hour and just push it. Like, you know what, you're not going to, every 2 weeks I'm going to push like 25% of what I 25% every 2 weeks I'm going to push it. So just make sure that you have less like a continuity into it. Like, so when people look into your channel and say, okay, last week he brought something out, and 2 weeks before that he brought something, okay, that's cool. But if you like, okay, bro, the last time he uploaded something was like 2 months ago, right? And that 2 months he's talk about something for 2 hours. Like, so just break them down into little pieces and just uploading them little by little. And yeah.
Yeah, I agree on that. And I feel that a lot of people have very skewed perceptions on how this whole YouTube and podcasting works. I remember after 4 months on YouTube, I had some of the friends chat up to me and they were like, "So how much are you earning from that?" And I'm like,
Like
"Not earning anything from this
zero,
thing. It's
zero.
so
Yeah.
what, next month are you gonna start earning money?" And I'm like, "No, and maybe like
No.
a few years, you know." So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that everybody that's big on YouTube kind of invested a lot of time and a lot
Yeah,
of
a lot of
effort
time.
into it. And another thing that people don't take into account, professional YouTubers do it full time, so they
Mm,
have a lot of more time to kind of set everything up, to prepare, to do the research, to make the episode just right, and to kind of prepare future episodes as well. I'm kind of using the weekends for it. I don't know about you, but usually during the day, and I want to talk a little bit about the daily routine. Usually during the day, I have some time in the evening, and I try to do like 1 or 2 hours when I get a chance. But you know how life is. Usually stuff gets in the way, so don't do it every day, right?
yeah.
But yeah, here and there, and then just gradually building. And the first thing that I noticed is that YouTube gives you like a really cool statistical overview on how your videos are performing. And I actually fell in love with data and numbers and statistics through YouTube. Like we had it in college, and I was like, oh, statistics, you know, especially when I heard about the book, like How to Lie with Statistics. You know, people use stats to kind of promote things, and it can be so easily manipulated. So I had a very skeptical view on every time when I read like, oh, 75% of voters did this, you know, and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, all right, cool, you know. And now when I see hard data from like views, minutes, all that, I kind of fell in love with it, and I love checking my stats and seeing like what works, what can be improved, you know, like what doesn't work, and you get a lot of feedback from that, like what to do more, what to do less. And I started implementing it on a few videos, and it actually does work. Like things that you improve gradually upon start to perform better. So it kind of filters. So YouTube kind of filters out what you're doing well and what you're not doing well,
Mm,
in a sense. Like nothing is 100%, right? Because you haven't touched the whole audience yet. Like you haven't reached millions of people. So some things will change with time. But I feel it gives you like really this like even like a mentorship approach, like where it says like, all right, this works, try that, right? So I feel that people who are kind of like thinking of how to improve maybe should focus more on their own data and
mm.
take what's working and implementing that. I had a really interesting chat with a friend of mine also called Dominic, also a software developer. He's working in Java. Um, we read a lot of these self-development books, and there's this Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. I don't know if you heard about that, but it basically says that 80% of your results come from only the 20% of the most valuable things that you do, and the other are actually not that valuable. So with most of the things that you're doing, you're kind of wasting your time.
Mm,
And that principle can be derived in so many places. Like in a company, like 20% of the sales people are the top earners in the company, and they earn more than roughly 80% of the company, you know. And
mm.
you can find that principle all over the place. It's really cool. I really recommend the book. And on YouTube it works as well. Like if you take your two top performing videos, um, and just create like a version 2 or part 2 or something similar on that topic, it will get a lot more performance out of it. And I watched a lot of these YouTube reports from YouTubers that do it full time and that earn money through it.
Mm.
Like 5 of their videos earn more than, like, I don't know how much, like 90% of the other videos probably as well, you know. So it's kind of the 80-20 rule there as well. And it seems like a really good like direction, like to narrow it down your focus. Have you been looking into your data, and do you apply it also on podcast as well?
To be honest, I haven't. To be honest, I haven't, and I think this is something because this is not the first time hearing from you. I've heard it from all the YouTubers saying it's very important to look into the statistics, looking for what works, and but I haven't took the time to really look into it, and I definitely should do that. And the other thing I also noticed when I started YouTube was I always thought that those professional YouTubers or people who are on YouTube in general, when they are talking about certain topics, certain things on YouTube, and maybe the video is an 8 minutes video, right? And they just talk for 8 minutes, and after 8 minutes, they'll say, "Hey, thanks for listening, goodbye, stop," right? And I was like, "Okay, cool, I'm gonna try that out." So I pressed record on my camera and I started talking, and I was like just sometimes mispronounce something, forget the next thing, and I would start all over again and talk again, start all over again. And I was like, how is it possible that these people can talk for 8 minutes straight without mispronouncing anything, without any or forgetting anything? This is impossible. I can do this forever. It's like, so it was so, and then I figured out that they're just like, it was edited, right?
Mhm.
And they just taking the chunks of different parts and then attach them together and then show you the entire thing. And so I noticed it's the way I noticed that is someone was talking like this, and all of a sudden he was there talking, and then it was like changing
Yeah.
changing position, and I
Position.
noticed, oh, that's he's not in the same position all the time. So I noticed all these things are like the uh these are your pieces that were put together. And I was like, oh, so all this time I was thinking that I have to talk to you for 8 minutes straight without pause and without and so that's something that really helped me a lot. So when you diving into YouTube and doing all this stuff, you have to be aware of that too, right? You have to know that these people, there's also they're just human beings like you, and it took a lot of time. Like you said, many of them are doing it full time now, and so they can prepare. When they are doing your podcast, they have a clear mind, right? They didn't want, they're not coming from work, hustling, coming from work and dressing up and bringing the kids to bed and everything. And okay, it's time for a podcast. Oh, let's go. No, they sat there the entire day preparing for it, and now it's time to go. And for us, like for the average person, for us right now, it's like we have other things, right? You come from work, your head is already like, let's say, toxinated with all of our different stuff. And when you stand in front of the camera and you can't even pronounce your name right. Sometimes, sometimes I'm standing camera, I'm just like, my brain is already hurting from work, from solving problems at work. And now I'm sitting in front of a computer, sitting in front of a camera, and I'm trying to speak, talk about certain things. I'm like, man, my brain is and so it's how it is, right? So you just have to be aware of those kind of things, that it's going to be really difficult, and just try baby steps. And when you getting prepared, when I how I prepare myself, for example, is if I know that, okay, today in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks I want to talk about how to become a better developer. I want to do 8 minutes video how to become a better developer, or which good learning resources are out there to become a better developer, or how to dive into tech or whatever. What I try to do is not to sit down, look for, okay, this evening I'm going to sit down for 3 hours and I'm going to write everything down. It's like, I tried that before. It didn't work out. For me, it didn't work out. What I like to do is like, every day for 15 minutes, I'll just write down a chunk of what I'm going to say, the script. And then after 15 minutes, quit, do something else. Next day, another 15 minutes. And after maybe a week, oh, I'm done. Cool. Nice. I'm done. Okay, right, cool. The nine, now I can do other things. So if you stand there for 3 hours and you're just there and just trying to do all these things by for 3 hours straight, first of all, you're going to have a lot of mistakes. There's one thing that I notice is that whenever I write down, sit down for, like, say, 3 hours for and try to write a script, I do that, for example, in the evening, nights, when my kids, wife, they're already asleep. and I'm writing down things. I'm like, man, this is really cool. It's a really cool script. It's going to be really nice. I can't wait to bring it out there. And then next morning, I look into the script and it's so much gibberish. I'm like, what are you talking about? Why are you talking
Yeah.
about? What are you talking? Why are you writing about these things? What do you mean by that? It doesn't make any sense. And so it's just like I just start, okay, 15 minutes, I'm gonna write this, and then just do that for a week, and you're like, oh, I'm done. All right, it's time to get let's get rolling, let the camera rolling. And so
Yeah, for me, the biggest shock was actually how time consuming everything is. Like
oh
when
man.
like you said, like an 8-minute video, you think that somebody would spend like maximum 20 minutes getting it done, right?
Oh
But it's like
man.
you can sometimes spend like a whole week working on a 8-minute video, and even more. Like I watch some YouTubers that are doing it full time, and they say like, "Oh, I've been working on this 3 days," and they don't mean it like you and me in the evening for like an hour, but it's like 3 full days. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, like, but then of course you can see the results when you watch a video like that. It's really polished. It has like very minimum mistakes. Everything is in its place. It has a nice flow to it. So I feel it's a process of self-development, and that's one of the things where I want to focus on in this podcast a lot, like teaching people that actually things don't come overnight. Like for those that do, those are unicorn
Yeah.
once in a million. Like I'm sure it happened to some
It
people,
happened. They
right?
exist. Yeah. They're on they're here.
Yeah, like fine, all right, but for 99.9997%
Yeah.
of the people, it probably won't go that way. It'll probably
And
be
yeah,
years of hard work until they get
mm,
there. So
and
I think that people have to be ready for that, you know?
my very first video on YouTube, it's like a 6 minutes or 7 minutes video, like the introduction video. Hey everybody, my name is Nathaniel. I'm an iOS developer from Berlin, Germany. Welcome to my YouTube channel. That first video, it was like I said, 6 or 7 minutes. Do you know how long it took me? Guess how long it took me to do that video?
Probably a few hours.
2 months.
Wow.
2 months. That was my first video. It was crazy difficult for me to get that video on. Man, the lighting, autofocus, my camera back then was like
Yeah,
tripping
shooting and
around.
reshooting.
Oh my goodness. I was quit. I- After that video, I'm like, I don't want to do this again. And this is so painful. Man, the lighting was not correct. The audio was not correct. I forgot to press record. I was not in focus. And then I had to sell return some devices because they were not working the way I expected. So it was such a pain, such a pain. Like I said, for 6 minutes, it took me 2 months to finish. So you might be thinking, so were you sitting there for 2 months and tried to do that? No, of course I would like record it, and I'm like, okay, it's enough for today, and I will pull my t-shirt, wear the exact same t-shirts, sit on the right same position, and then try it again. And so in the video, it looks like, oh, this guy just did it for 6 minutes straight, easy. Like it was 2 months. It took me 2 months for me to do that video. It's crazy.
Yeah, but for everybody listening who's thinking of starting their YouTube channel or podcast, with time it gets faster. Like
Yeah,
you kind of
exactly.
get into it more. I
Yeah.
noticed that editing now takes me a lot less time than it used
Mm.
to. Like I was afraid to do like a small cut because I was like, oh, what was gonna happen, you know? Plus, I've never done editing or any like audio, like nothing with basically any content material. And thanks to Gary Vee and listening to a bunch of his videos, I kind of got convinced that if you're working on a project, if you're selling something, if you're basically want to kind of be more integrated in the online space of the business era, you kind of have to be online. And if you go back like 2 years beforehand, like it's hard to find pictures of me online. There's probably like 20 pictures on Facebook. And after that, I was like, all right, cool, I'll give it a try. And at the start, it was like really weird, like even holding the camera in front of your face. It was strange, like I've never done it. Like
Oh,
every time when somebody took photos of me, it was my parents being like, oh, let's take a family photo. And I was like, oh God, no, you know? And after a while, you kind of get used to it. And then posting content and then trying to improve everything. It's a whole journey, and I kind of like it, but I didn't like it at the start as much as I like it now.
mm,
And I think the biggest was actually uploading the first few videos on YouTube. That's where I kind of got hooked. And then the next one was falling in love with data. And
Mm.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah, it's amazing. It's how when I started, like I said, after those 2 months for that 6 minutes video, then later on it was like 4 hours or 6 hours, and now if I'm doing a video, it's like an hour and a half. I'm done, right?
mm,
So it's from time to time it gets better. You start understanding the tricks and how to manipulate your video so that even if you do mistakes, even if don't you say something you shouldn't have said in a certain time, you can like do some editing and it just looks very natural. So it takes a lot of time, but if you put the work into it, put the time into it, you can get it's going to get better, definitely.
mhm, mhm. Of course. Tell me, uh, I mentioned Gary Vee earlier there. What do you think about social media? You mentioned that you were on LinkedIn, and that's how we kind of started talking and connected. Where are you with social media, and how do you look at it right now? There's been a lot of people chatting about it because it has, you know, influenced a lot of things. But I want to hear your point on it.
Yeah, so social media has two sides, right? It has good side because on social media has saved a lot of people's lives, right? On social media people would post something about maybe a natural disaster coming up or a terrorist attack, warn people about certain stuff, and people can go into safety fast enough to, and their life gets safe, right? And when things are happening, they just people get go into social media and just start posting stuff, warning people about all this kind of stuff, which is really really good. And it's a place where you can express yourself, express display your skills, and just help other people to achieve certain things in lives. For like example, the cooking part, people, for example, I wasn't that much into cooking before, but I'm from YouTube, seeing all different kind of people showing how to cook this, how to cook that. It was like, oh wow, okay, I don't need to go to cooking school. I don't need to ask my mom about this. I just type it on YouTube and it shows me about how this works. And so, for example, or when you're going for an interview, right? There was maybe before when you're going for an interview, you put a tie on, and you're like, man, I forgot, how does this tie? How does it go? How does it? And then you type on YouTube and see someone, and I always look at the comment section and see people saying, "Oh, thank you, you saved my life. Thank you, you saved me.
You got me a job.
You got me a job. Thank you." And like, yeah, so it's really good, right? People can be very can be very productive on YouTube or on social media. You can people have got jobs through social media because people job posting, recommending people or referring to people on social media, and you can, for example, when I was started as teaching myself how to code, I saw a lot of sales about books for courses, and so you save a lot of money because people are saying, "Hey, look at this book I found; it's on sale. Look at this course; it's on sale." And you just seen this so much information, and you're like, "Oh wow, this is really cool." And good that I have Facebook. Good that I'm on Facebook. Now I've saved a lot of money because I'm on Facebook or because I'm on Instagram or whatever, and that's a good part of it. But at the same time, it also have the dark side, right? It's addictive, not just for teenagers and for kids, also for adults, right? And so people are hooked up into this and want to see, okay, what's going on, and everybody has this. Everybody who has a smartphone has been in a position where it's okay. Maybe I stayed for on YouTube way too long. Maybe I stayed on Instagram or Facebook way too long, and this is something everybody has to deal with. And so, and that's one thing, that's it's addictive and it can cause you a lot of time, just wasting a lot of time, because just because someone posts something, it's like, oh, that's interesting, and then you look into it, oh, that post also, and then you, before you know, oh, it's 2 hours. I've been doing this for 2 hours. And and the other thing is, unfortunately, we live in a day and age where people are very sensitive now, and you cannot express yourself, you cannot say an opinion without being like been attacked something, and you have to be very careful what you bring out there. And people don't care about statistics, like you said, more very statistics, don't care about details, don't care about context. Everything, many things are just feeling based, right? I feel this, I feel like, okay, facts doesn't care about your feelings, right? It is a fact. So, and yeah, of course it's good to that we have emotion. This is something god-giving thing, gift that we have. But some people are so much, they everything is about your feelings, and on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, you just see this person, just people just talking about how they feel about this, feel about that, and the moment you say something slightly different, you get into trouble, and you're now their enemy. You're like, wait a second, I understand your story. I understand your story about this topic, but I would like to hear the other party. I would like to hear what the other person has to say. And I said, no, no, just believe me, because you're my friend. You need just take it on, um, just take it like that, because you're my friend, or because you come from the same country as I do. So just take this at face value. And it's like, oh no, I want to look into details. I want to look into some context. I want to look at some statistics. And and that's the thing, that people go there and just being keyboard warriors. Just go there and just be
Mean
harmful,
sometimes as well.
huh?
Mean sometimes.
Yeah, harmful, mean, and just go there, express how much hatred they have in your heart. And it can be really dangerous sometimes. And you have to be careful today. You have to be careful who you like, who you retweet, because it's damn, times have changed. So that's the thing, right? So like I said, Facebook, social media has good stuff, but has to have bad stuff. And well, especially because of all the events that are going on around the world, the political event, and the pandemics. So if you write something that doesn't fit the agenda of a certain movement, you're in trouble. You're the enemy. They give you names and call you all different kind of things, just because you didn't, because your view doesn't fit the agenda. So so yeah, so that's the two side of social media.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. It can be rough on people, really. Like when you read the reports of like depression and even suicide rates, like that it's connected directly to social media. That's concerning. But I always kind of love to look more on the bright side and everything good that's coming out of it. Um, that's why I want to emphasize the self-development part, because when you think about it, if the person is younger, they didn't have enough time to kind of develop all of their like mental fortitude to kind of like be prepared for everything that can come their way on social media and the internet, and some random guy commenting something mean, that can hurt you if you're not kind of like in the wrong right place. So I think people should approach social media through this lens of like, all right, like it's like something good can happen and something bad can happen.
Something bad, yeah.
Um,
It's the real world, right? It's exactly the same
yeah,
thing when you go outside there. You don't say, "Hey, everybody is nice to you. We're holding each other's hands, running with flowers and singing kumbaya," right? It's like it's a dangerous place out there. So you just have to be aware of that. And a lot of teenagers and kids don't know about that. And when they see someone writing something mean about certain things, certain topics, they get crazy. And adults too, not
yeah.
just teenagers,
Do
adults
you think
also.
that maybe like if people get comments like that, they can actually grow through that? Because like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and kind of like if people are mean to you, after a while you kind of develop a resistance to it. Do you think that
I,
it's kind of like
I think one of the main reasons when people take us, let's say, social media or media in general too serious is most of the time as people who they just don't have enough, let's say, things. They don't have enough things that, um, how to put it, uh,
going on in their own life?
in their own life. Yeah. So they have so much time spending on YouTube and social media that you're like, dude, shouldn't you go to work, read a book, do this, take care of your family? And no, 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 I do that too, but I'm on social media. Well, then you're not doing it good enough, because you shouldn't be here and crying about someone saying this about this politician, saying this about this politician. I need to go to work tomorrow. I don't have time for this. I need to get this project done. I need to fix this problem. I need to take care of my kids, take care of my family. And so it's like, just like they don't have enough things going on in your life that can distract them from that, keep them away from there. So that's where they get their like purpose in life, and that's where they want to be someone, and that's where they get information that makes them happy or makes them sad, because they just don't have anything else in life, or just don't have, let's say, enough uh, going on in your life. So that's why, like I said, a teenager are very um, uh, into this social media things, because they're just growing up and they have time. And so adults who are working, who have a family, who have projects going on, they don't have time for that. For you, for example, you like, dude, I need to work on my next podcast. I need to start writing script. I need to start editing videos. I need to start looking for the next guest on my show and all these things. I don't have time talking about what this person did, what that person did on social media. So
Yeah,
I
true.
think just trying to be productive in other parts of your life, um, doing something else that can make you, that can bring, let's say, uh, helping other people, working on project, reading books, do all those kind of things, and can actually help you not lean into this social media disaster. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it boils down to focus a lot. For instance, a friend of mine, she couldn't work now during COVID because everything locked down. So she was
Mm,
like, all right, I'm going to focus on stuff that I did when I was younger. And she went
mm,
back to painting.
mm,
And she did it for her own like fun for a while. And then she was like, oh, maybe I should post it on social media, like see what other people say. And then she got really great feedback. Then she's like, all right, I'm going to create a Instagram page for my like artwork, and she posts her pictures there. Now she has people contacting her that want to buy her artwork, and she's
wow.
making some like money on the side. She
Mm,
didn't even think about it when she started doing it. It was focused on her being like, I enjoy painting. I haven't done it in a long time. I'm gonna start doing it, and started sharing with the world. And of course, got great feedback from there.
mm.
So
Yeah, and your friend, she had a choice, right?
yeah,
She could have said, you know what, instead of doing something productive, painting, you know what, I'm just going to hang out on YouTube, hang out on Facebook, and just talking about all sort of things. But she decided to do that, and now
yeah.
she's successful in it. Yeah, good.
Yeah. I believe that's the right way to go. Like thinking of how you can fill out your day and what are the
Mm.
things that you can do, not like what other people's are not doing. That takes too much energy away. Tell me, Nathaniel, you have great energy about you, and can you tell us a little bit about your daily routine? Like, how do you keep yourself going? Where do you get the energy from, and how does your like daily routine look like?
Yeah, so I'm as a Christian, my faith has a major role in my life. So I every day I spend time with God, read my Bible, I spend time with my family, spend time with my kids, and do exercise. And I have like a small, tiny, very tiny gym here, where I do pull-ups every day, and just try to, yeah, stay sane, right? Because we'll right now a lot of crazy things are happening out there, and just try not to be distracted from what's going on out there. And that's something I also tell people. So do something else. Don't look at Facebook, or you can look at it maybe few minutes, but do something else. Be productive. Go for a run. So I go for a run, and I read books about how to become a better developer, and just making sure that I if because the thing is that, Bona, every day when you go to bed, you lay in your bed, there's one thing that comes into your mind. What did I do today? What did I accomplish today? And when you have this thought and you're thinking about, okay, today I spent like half of today hanging out on Facebook, or half of the hanging out, that's such an awful feeling, right? I don't think there's anybody out there who would say, man, today I was all the time on Facebook, that was really cool. Even if they were like doing all crazy stuff on Facebook, on social media, they know that that wasn't right? They know it. And when I lay on my bed, I'm like, okay, what did I do? Okay, today, yeah, I spent time with the kids. I did that. I did that. I was able to finish this project. I was working on this script. That feels so amazing, right? And the next day, you're like, okay, let's do it again. And then, but there are some times, there's some setbacks. And you're like, oh, today I'm just going to hang around and just do nothing. But these are the things that I just try to do, and it just keeps that engine, oiling that engine, keeping it going, and just make sure that you don't fall into this trap, then looking into the news all the time. Okay, where's the next COVID thing going on? Where's the next doing? What are
Mm.
these people? What are these politicians doing? Just caught up. There's so many people that caught up in this thing right now, and they're not productive, and they don't do anything. It's just
Yeah.
that. And so always, those are the things that I do every day that I try, that just keeps me away from all the craziness going around outside. Yeah.
Do you prefer to work out in the mornings or in the evenings?
I am very agile when it comes to that. So sometimes I'm hanging around. I'm like, oh, you know what? It's time for me to do some pull-ups, and I just go here, my pull-up bar. I just do some pull-up, and then I like doing it in the morning because it's very, I feel very awake after that. And for example, when I run in the morning. So I prefer doing it in the morning, prefer running in the morning, doing exercise in the morning. But in the morning, it's also more difficult, especially now that it's getting cold. Man, it's like, you look outside, it's raining, and all those demons in your head. Oh, Nathaniel, just hang out, stay home today, drink coffee, hang out with your kids. Today you don't have to go out and run. It's cold. You could catch a cold, and just hang out. And I was like, nah, I need to go out. I need to go and do something.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's the. And the stretching also. I underestimated stretching a lot, and I was thinking, oh, stretching are just it's not important. You don't need to stretch. And now that I'm a bit older, I realize, oh, so important to stretch, to do all those exercises, just to make sure that yeah, because you were sitting down all day, sit in front of a computer, your back get messed up, your knees
Yeah.
get messed up, and stretching is also very, very important. So I tried stretching every day. I do pull-ups and do stretching in the morning. I try to do it in the morning, and that's the first one of the things I like doing in the morning. And then after that, maybe thrice a week, I go for run. And yeah, and running is also very good too. Running is good. Running is it's very lonely. It's lonely. It's more than a mental thing than a physical thing,
Mm.
especially now in winter. It's man, when you look outside, it's cold and it's raining, it's wet. You're like, oh, I don't want to go outside. But whenever I go outside in this weather, because when I see it's raining, I have this feeling like, let's go, let's do it. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, let's stay home. But after doing it, it's such an amazing feeling. When
Yeah.
you get home, you feel like, ah, yes, I did it. I
Conquered
did it.
something.
I conquered something. And after that, man, my mind's like, I don't care which algorithm which problem I need to
Yeah.
solve at work today. I don't care what I'm facing at
You
work
can
today.
see the matrix.
I just came back from war. I don't care anymore. I'm gonna do anything, anything that comes on my way. I'm gonna smash it. So you
Yeah.
just feel like energetic, and it's pretty cool now.
I'll feel that, man. Like here in
Yeah.
Ireland, it's raining all the time. So pretty much anytime you decide to go for a run, you can expect rain somewhere along the way. And here the weather can change like so fast because there's a lot of wind. We're close to the ocean here, so you can go out for a run and it will be like no clouds there, and you'd run
Mm.
for 15 minutes, and like suddenly you're in the middle of a storm. It's
Uh,
super funny. Like when you tell it to people, they don't believe it. But when you come here, it's like you really have the feeling of from the cartoons where there's like one cloud going over like one person. You
yeah.
literally have that. Yeah, it's super funny. But yeah, I feel that stuff like that is super important as well to kind of keep you going, keep you motivated. A lot of people that are not working out think that working out takes your energy, but when you look at it, like when you, of course, not at the first few times, right? But after a while, you start gaining energy through it, and especially as you described it in the morning. Like when I do a workout in the morning, I just feel more awake. And when we do a Zoom call in the morning, like I see my colleagues, they're like.
Yeah, yeah. And
Still
you're like,
sleeping. Like,
"Ugh."
come on, let's go. What's the next thing? Yeah, and you can really feel the difference, and it keeps you going for like hours, and you
Yeah.
don't need coffee and stuff like that. So
Mm,
I think it's a great thing. Like, of course, I don't do it every day.
mm.
I try to do as much as I can, but still have a lot of things to improve there. But yeah, it's I think the main part is that going towards it, having like a goal and clear mind on what's good for you, what's keeping you up and going, and trying to do more of that and less of something that's holding you back. Tell me, uh, do you try to go out of your comfort zone a lot? Do you do stuff like that where, all right, we mentioned the cold rain and going for
Mm.
a run. Do you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
more
yeah.
examples like that?
Yeah, yeah. I That's actually what brought me into software development, right? Leaving my comfort zone, because I was in my comfort zone for 6 months. No, sorry, for 6 years. I was in my comfort zone for 6 years, doing the same work over and over again. And I realized that, okay, it's cool, right? I can do the same thing over and over again. And then after that, then switch to software development, start teaching myself how to code. I left my comfort zone and I realized, okay, I need to I need to learn this. I need to look into this subject, look into this field, look into this topic. And it was kind of uncomfortable. It wasn't that comfortable at the beginning, but later on, I was like, man, I just read this book. Wow, amazing. Look at what I know now. Look at what I can do. Oh, I just I just watched this tutorial on YouTube about this tool, and now I know how to use it. And I try to put myself in position where I don't feel comfortable all the time. Uh, of course, we as human beings, we always want to relax, chill out, and no challenges, just relax the whole day. And but if you do that, you're going to regret a lot, right? You're going to back in time and say, what did I do with my life? You're just hanging out on a couch, eating, watching Netflix, playing video games. And so so I decided to, like, whenever I go for a run, for example, like, I always have this mindset of bring myself to a place where I know it hurts, right? It's not for everybody. I'm not saying you should do it, but I like that feeling. When the moment I stop running, I feel so exhausted. I feel so tired that I'm like, afterwards, it feels so good that you got out of your comfort zone, and you're now in a place where you can challenge yourself and see some of your weaknesses and see what you're capable of doing. And for example, when I'm running, sometimes on my own, my feet hurt, it burns, my lungs are burning, I can barely breathe, and I just keep running and running and running. And my mind started telling me, hey, let's stop, go home, it's enough, you've done enough today, just go home. You've ran for 5 minutes, it's okay, now go home, 5 minutes, it's enough. And then I keep running, and after an hour, man, when I'm done, like I said, you have this, wow, look at what I just did. You know what? Whatever comes on my way this day, I don't care. I just came from war. I just came from war, man. I'm ready to smash anything on my way today. So it's just that feeling that you have, that bringing you out of your comfort zone. It's such an amazing feeling, and it just makes you realize, okay, what you're capable of doing. When you're doing the same thing over and over, it's good to do something that's doing the same thing, but at some point you have to start applying or bringing things in that are new, and just trying something new, trying something out. And yeah, I was also caught up in when I was doing, so like, start learning software development. I was also caught up in just learning the same thing, looking at the same, let's say the same content all over again, beginner content. I was scared to start looking at the intermediate stuff. Oh, the intermediate stuff is so complicated. Oh no, it's so complicated. But now, like, you know what? It's time to take that step, leave that beginner stuff behind. Let's start looking at intermediate stuff. And now I'm looking into more intermediate stuff, and it's hard. I have to say, software development is very hard. It's one of the hardest thing I've ever done, I've ever tried. But I'm looking into it, and I'm seeing a lot, gaining a lot of knowledge. And it's just it's amazing how your brain can start memorizing things, knowing things, just because it's been exposed to this subject over time, over and over again. And I like using this analogy. For example, do you have a driving license?
Yes.
Remember the first time you step into a car? The first time you step into a car to drive a car, just first time you drive a car, you were like, your brain couldn't imagine that you will ever be able to drive this thing by yourself. You still you see everything, so much buttons everywhere. You're like, oh, how can I do this? This is impossible for me. Then after 4 months, 5 months of learning how to drive, driving becomes the most random thing in your life, right? You can drive and be on the phone, don't do it. You can be drinking, you can drinking water, of course. You can be doing so many things at the same time while driving. Your mind can be completely somewhere else. Sometimes I've catch myself driving car, my mind is completely somewhere else. And all of a sudden I've reached my destination. I'm like, how did I get here? My mind was so it's just brain memory. It's just muscle memory, right? Muscle memory. So your mind has done this so often that you can do it without even thinking about it. So, and that's the same thing almost in everything in life, right? Software development, cooking, and podcasting, and all these things. They just become a part of you, right? Before, hey everybody, welcome back to Code Stories. My name is Nathaniel. I'm an iOS developer from Berlin, Germany. That was at the beginning, that was so difficult to do, right? Hello, welcome tonight. Hello, my name is hello. And now I can just say it like that. Say it like that. So before, it was very difficult to say that before. And because I've been doing it over and over again, um it just get better. So yeah, that's something that should be repeating stuff, memorizing stuff, and it's gonna get better. Gonna get better. Yeah.
100%. There's this great book that's written about like the 10,000 hours to mastery, where they've done research on like everybody that's great in their field, to become world class. They invested around 10,000 hours into it. And there's a really cool TED talk where a guy learns to play the violin, and his 10,000 minute was on his talk, and he played it brilliantly. Like you could really see that he mastered playing the violin. So yeah, I feel that people are very enthusiastic about the first 5 hours, and then afterwards they're not.
It doesn't work. I'm not gonna do this anymore. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
I didn't learn how to play a violin after 5 hours. I'm gonna stop. Yeah.
This driving thing, it doesn't work. I'll buy a Tesla. It'll be
I'll
fine.
buy it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Tell me, we've gone through a lot of things here on like how to improve your life and stuff like focus, patience, working hard, improving your life all the time. One of the things that I think is most important in this whole story is kind of like where you're going, the goals and plans part. I feel like if you don't have an aim, you can keep improving in something useless and you end up nowhere after a while. Let's chat a little bit about goals, about plans, and how do you look at that area? How do you look at that topic? And do you set plans and goals for yourself? And maybe like where do you see yourself in the next few years?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because of this content creation creator thing, the YouTube, Spotify thing. It has opened a lot of doors, and I've been in touch with people. People have reached out to me, giving me offers, and do you want to do this? You want to try this? You want to be an instructor and this and that? And so these are just things that I have. I never thought about it when I started YouTube. I wasn't thinking about people writing me if I would want to be an instructor for programming in this and programming that. And I never thought about it. For me, it was just, I'm just going to share my story, empower, inspire, and encourage people to maybe give it a try in software development. But I
Yeah.
never thought about all these kind of opportunities. And when I noticed that, okay, so this is something I could actually, what I could, where I could see myself in the future would be maybe being an instructor, for example, and where I just give courses, workshops, maybe conference talk, being a mentor, something that I also I can also see myself doing in
Mhm.
software development, just helping people from scratch, maybe school kids, teaching them how to code. And this is something like I like doing, and creating courses in my YouTube channel, um, letting people like what I'm already doing right now, share their stories on YouTube on my channel, and just doing something to help the tech community. That's definitely something I can see myself doing. And I love sharing what I know. So if I know something, and if I know that um, I can help someone um, be better in something, I definitely always try to reach out to people and just help them. So yeah, so mentoring, instructor in software development, that's definitely something I see myself. I would like to do, right? Creating courses, writing blogs, technical writing. Something I'm also really looking forward to. Uh,
Mhm.
like right or creating courses is one of my biggest um, uh, thing, one of the biggest project that I'm thinking of doing right now, because it's also very challenging, because as man, that's going to, I have to be writing about all this technical stuff and talking about all this technical stuff, and my boss is looking and he might say, hey, Nathaniel, what are you talking about? My colleagues are looking and so Nathaniel has absolutely no clue about. But that's the thing, right? Live in your comfort zone. Live in your comfort zone. Say, you know what? I'm going to do. I'm going to start very small. How to declare a variable? Start very small. You don't have to talk about some crazy, sophisticated, complex stuff. Start very small. Start very small, and just see how it goes. And yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to just be a coach, mentor, instructor, doing something like that in the future. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier when we were talking about YouTube that you write stuff down to kind of prepare for the episodes. Do you think on paper a lot?
Yeah, I write a lot of stuff on paper, which is amazing. It has been really good for me. Helped me. This old YouTube thing has helped me to my writing skills is much better. My presentation skill is much better. My English skills is much better. My German skills, it's like it's just have a lot of positive impact in my life. And writing things down, it's like it's really good to just bring your mind on paper, right? And just say, okay, so I'm going to talk about this and I'm going to talk about that. And it's just being let's say being structured, just being in a structured way, and you know exactly how to start, how to begin, and how the flow. It's a much cleaner, more fluid, and it's just great. Sometimes I there was a time I was like, oh no, I'm done with the scripting. I'm done with the scripting. I just want to talk free, like just to stand in front of the computer camera and just talk. But at the same time, I was like, ah man, you remember that because of this script thing, your writing is much better now. You want to throw that away after you want to get rid of that? No, no, continue writing. It's yes, it is hard. It takes more time, but there's so many benefits you get from it, right? Like you said, you get better in writing, you in grammar, you get so much better. And yeah, so that's I definitely recommend people to do script to script um their videos. It's not just for the thing that, okay, my videos is going to be more structured, it's going to make sense, the flow is going to be better, but also just for you as a person to be better in writing, better in putting words together, right, on paper. So these are things, so these are lost, let's say, lost skills, right? Today nobody cares about this thing. Before, people, when you people cared about writing and all this stuff, and now it's just a hashtag, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hashtag LOL.
LOL. Nobody cares about writing anymore. So that's definitely something that that's that brings that it brings. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think it's lost yet. There are still old school people that believe in it, and I
Yeah.
believe it's a great skill. I read a lot of stuff about writing and how it's kind of like the same thing as thinking, but it's more kind of to the point because you physically see thoughts, and
Mm,
there's a special kind of thing that happens when you think about something, write about it, and then see it again. It's kind of like a
mm,
three-part connection between the brain, body, and the visual input. So it, of course, it stays longer in your mind. You can remember it easier and stuff like that. So I would also recommend writing to everybody. Journaling is super, super useful. I don't know if you've done journaling, but I started in 2018, and it's great. Like you get
mm,
so much off your chest, and kind of easier. You structure and organize your thoughts of the day like a lot easier. It just
mm.
feels like you kind of when your room's kind of like dirty, and then you sort everything and order it nicely. You have that same feeling afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Nathaniel, we've I think we've reached kind of the end of this podcast. We've been going for around 2 hours, and I really enjoyed talking to you, man. I again learned some new things. Thank you again for sharing all the tips and everything. But before we end, do you have some kind of like motivational message for the end? That's how I like to end this podcast. Something that you would say to the audience who's listening.
Yeah, I think one thing will be, don't allow the events that are going on in the world right now. Don't let them be a stumbling block, right, for you and in your life, and don't occupy your brain with so much negativity, right? With a lot of stuff going on. Just focus on if it's your family, if on just get things done, right? Don't hang out on social media and just trying to figure out who said this, who said that, and just be productive and um, and try things out. Try things out. Courses, books, blogs. There's so many resources out there, and there's no excuse. There's no excuse for you to say, "Oh well, if I knew that there was YouTube, if I knew that there was this, I could have learned this." But there's no excuse. You have a lot of time, and when this all this pandemic thing's over, right? And it's going to be over sooner or later, and people are going to look back. Okay, wow, it took, I don't know, maybe let's say 2 years until we got back to normal. What did I do the past 2 years, right? And Borna, Nathaniel created YouTube channel. We're doing podcasting, and now they have million viewers. And Bonner is doing great. Nathaniel is doing great. And what about you? What about, what do you do? Oh yeah, Netflix. I was hanging out on Netflix, video games, social media. Yeah, that's what I did. Like, what, 2 years? You were not doing anything. You were just hanging around and all this stuff. So yeah, so that's something I will definitely recommend. And don't go crazy. Just focus on the things that that's going to bring you, that after this pandemic or even within this pandemic, that's going to bring you forward. Yeah.
I agree. Well said, man. Positivity is the way to go, and that's kind of one of the main thoughts that we're promoting here on the Uncle's Gold podcast. And thanks everyone who stuck with us until the end. I know it's been a longer one, but we like this longer format here. Thank you again, Nathaniel, for sharing all these thoughts, and I'm sure that everybody got some value out of this positive thoughts. If you've liked this podcast, leave us a comment. We would really love to hear some feedback. What parts resonated with you? What are some of the parts that you learned maybe from this? And what are some of the parts that we maybe didn't touch upon that you would like to hear more of in the future? And definitely check out Nathaniel's both YouTube channels, one in English, one in German, and his podcast. We'll leave the links below for everyone who's watching on the YouTube channel. And thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks again, Nathaniel, for joining the Uncle Gold podcast. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
The Uncle Gold Podcast.